swung. The roster's being made. There's going to be 53 plus 16 guys in this Kansas City organization here, and I know you guys are excited about it. We're answering your questions tonight on the live Q&A. We have a lot to go over, so you know what? Why don't we get after it? Well, friends and neighbors, we are excited tonight as we get into the Q&A for the cut down portion of the season. And DraftKings is into it as well. In Kansas in particular, the sportsbook is coming to the Sunflower State. It won't be long until you can bet all your favorite sports from the comfort of your home and celebrate all the new customers. You receive $100 in free bets just for signing up using the code RGR21. You go over there and one lucky customer is going to get to win $100,000 in free bets. That's going to make you some money. It's super easy. DraftKings Sportsbook is giving you that $100 free just for signing up today. No deposit required, no nothing. You just got to sign up. It makes it super easy and zero risk for you. They are the top rated of all the sportsbooks in America. That is DraftKings Sportsbook. Plus, you'll be entered in that $100,000 free bet when you sign up. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Put it on your phone right now. Super easy. You can get it in any app store now and sign up for that RGR21 code. That's the key. Then you get $100 in free bets. Once the mobile sports betting hits Kansas, you are good to go. Plus 100 customers get into that $100,000 free bet bonanza. That's what I'm calling it. The code again is RGR21. Help the folks that help us by going to check out DraftKings Sportsbook today. If you have a gambling problem, getting help is your best bet at 1-800-522-4700. 21 plus is required, physically present in Kansas. Eligible restrictions do apply. See terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Subject to regulatory licensing agreements, one per customer, $100 issued for 4 $25 free bets. No purchase necessary for sweepstakes. Void where prohibited. Ends on the first day of DraftKings is allowed to operate in Kansas. See terms and conditions over at dking.co/KS. Now that we have our sponsor on board, and very much thanks to DraftKings for coming back on board with us, Dan and I are going to get into what we're going to get out of you guys. We know you have questions. We have answers, at least our opinion. And I want to say something off the top. I'm really excited about all the injury changes and the updates that we're going to go over tonight. But there's a lot of folks that are hitting the comments lately, and I don't know if they're either part-time fans of the channel or they're fans of other teams or whatever. We don't give out love and hate here. We're analysis first. Analysis always primary, and then we come in with the fandom. So if you don't like what we're saying, it's because we actually think it, and we're probably betting that the coaches are going to think it. Dan's going to give me static for one former Tampa Bay Buck tonight. That's going to be fun, and you guys get to enjoy that stuff. I just want to put that out there before we get rolling because we do have questions in the stack already, so we're going to get after it. If you guys didn't hear, bunch of the receivers and corners came back. There's still a couple of guys out of practice, but there's a lot going on here. Swag Boy wants to know, I was looking at the Chiefs' schedule again. At first, I thought it was going to be hard, but looking back, I honestly feel like we can win most of the games. What do you think, Dan?
You know, I think that the only way we're going to know really how difficult it is by getting to that first month of the season. These teams we expect based off of last year, based off of offseason hype, that they're all going to be good. I think the Cardinals, much like we've seen, come out as a hot team and they kind of fizzle off towards the end. That could not happen this year. They could flip it. You never really know what's going to happen. And I really think that, you know, the Chargers are going to be good. And I think that's going to be a fun, tough game out the gate. But everyone else can have flux. They can have differences. We could see changes coming, different coaching, different players. Like it could all be different. So we got to wait and see.
Yeah, and it's even guys that you know that have a relationship, whatever, sometimes it tweaks. And having new guys in the mix will tweak that relationship as well. Yeah. That's something that can actually help the Chiefs, I think, this season in their camaraderie and the way that they go about it, especially now that those two guys in MVS and JuJu are back on the field. And that's honestly what they need. They need to get going pretty quick. So we have a lot. I'm stacking them up. Let's see what Jeremy had to say. How are you, Jeremy? Which of those do you think will make the 53-man roster do you feel the least confident in? So a guy that's going to make it, but we're not so sure about that. What do you got?
I mean, there's one guy that I thought would make it, and that I don't even know anymore. Like, I don't – right now, the linebacker position seems to be down to the two guys that could or could not make it. And I think that Darius Harris put himself in a position to make the roster, but I'm not so confident like that he's going to. It's all going to come down to what they think of Carter. I think it's going to be him or it's going to be Carter. I'm confident. I think Lee makes it, but again, he played in the fourth quarter in that preseason game too. So any two out of these three could be on, and I'm not entirely confident who is.
There's a lot of question marks there, and I agree with you. I will tell you, for me, it's whoever makes the sixth cornerback spot, because I do expect that there's only 4 safeties to make this roster. It's going to be 6 corners, but whoever that is. Lamons, I know everybody's excited because he played well in the preseason. Okay, but we've seen him in the regular season. I don't think he's like changed what he's capable of.
Yeah.
So if he's ever pressed in action on defense, you're in trouble. And I just don't know that he's going to be able to continue to put out on special teams to be enough. In the reverse, you're weakening your special teams to keep DiCaprio Budu, who I think actually has more upside on defense, but it's a back and forth. So those are the guys that I would look at. You never know. But we're going to get to all your questions, folks. If you want to support the channel, the super chats are the easiest way to do it. Will just did. And we appreciate your support. That helps us keep going. If not, you can check out gear in the RGR store. You can join the memberships, and then you get all the extra stuff that we do, whether Dan's ranting or I'm cussing at the camera. That only happens in the members room. Whether it's Gooch doing his thing or Stevie and Gooch and Aaron doing their thing on Rogue Head Huddle, you're going to get a lot of behind the scenes over in the members section today. I think Stevie's in here. Aaron, our fearless moderator, is definitely in here. Say hi to him, please. He is going to keep us all straight as we move through what is a cavalcade of questions tonight. I like it. Do you think we can bring in another CB or OT? Oh, I think you can upgrade from 6 on the CB side. I think 5's still pretty solid. Like, I feel good about Jalen Watson after what we've seen, right? Yeah. My only concern is right now, of the top 6, 3 of them are rookies. Is there room for like a veteran to be let go that maybe they feel they have to bring in?
If there was, you think they would have kept Lonnie Johnson? Like, that feels like they would have done that. I think that they're extremely confident in 3 rookies being on the roster, the way that they've played. I know Williams had a rough game, but he was, we talk about this all a lot. He was in position in a lot of those plays. He almost had a pick too on a little cover drop where he just kind of turned around and the ball was in his hands. So like, I'm pretty confident in those guys. I think Watson might actually end up being better than Joshua Williams. I kind of see how that turns out. But for me, I think offensive tackle, they will be scanning the free agent list as soon as it becomes available, because it's looking bleak in those offensive tackle cupboards. And it wouldn't surprise me if they were like, yeah, we're going to drop just about every one of you guys, keep just one, and then we're gonna bring in some other guys.
Because it's not great.
Not great.
Yeah, acquisition is something that I think has to continue to run it. And I don't know. I'm sure someone will bring up the guy in Chicago that we'll talk about later, and it's going to be interesting. I can't guarantee that, folks. But if you can upgrade even your 9th lineman, you're still raising the floor of this roster, and that's what counts. I'm still crazy. Glad that you're here. I'm glad that you made it for a live. That's awesome. I know that's challenging, but welcome, and I'm glad you made it. Micah, the Giants may cut Galladay. Are you all interested in 2019? He was with the Lions, and they played KC, and he was a beast.
I'm gonna be as clear and concise as I possibly can. No. Kenny Galladay has 0 interest in playing football. He doesn't block. He doesn't get open. He can't even do the one thing he was good at in Detroit, which is make 50-50 contested catches.
No. See, and that was my thing, is like, if they would throw those more and he showed an interest in going to get stuff anymore, I would say maybe. But I agree with you. I honestly, the Chiefs are pretty stacked. There's going to be guys that get cut from this roster, like Josh Gordon, that someone else will give a job, I'm pretty sure.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, they are a strength. So I think we're okay there. Jeremy, yes, RGR21 is the thing over at DraftKings. If you guys want to grab that will always help the channel. That's the other way. So if you guys are into sportsbook, that's the way to go. I've talked to a lot of sponsors, and they are the guys that you want to check out. Huckleberry, let's freaking go. RGR time. I love it. Hello to you as well, my friend. There's a lot of folks out here, and be warned, the Chiefs bandwagon is starting to grow again. I think people are like, oh, maybe Patrick isn't doomed to failure, number 8, whatever. We'll get to that later, too. Thanks to the AFN, the Armed Forces Network, for providing the NFL games for us servicemen. I am glad to hear that, Teak. Thanks for putting it out. Channel awesome. 801. I get that question almost every year, is what channel is the game on? And I have no way to really check. So, Teak, thank you very much. Appreciate you putting that out there.
That's awesome.
I have never watched AFN, so I don't know if it's easy to navigate or what, but hey, as long as it's there, right?
It's got to use it. Got to use it.
That's what it's for. Thanks, Teak. Lee, is there anyone that you would like the Chiefs to sign from the announced cuts so far? My guy's out there. My guy that Dan hates.
I don't hate him.
I know.
I just didn't like him very much coming out of Western Kentucky.
I love the dude. Jarrett Stearns reminds me of not quite as fast, but a more strong at the catch point and more strong through contact Albert Wilson. That's what I like about him. And I think I'd love to see him on the practice squad, see what he can become. He's built real thick. He reminds me of Steve Smith actually in his build, but he's way smaller. He's Tyreek size. He's 5'9" or something like that. And he needs to use that quarter for all he's got. But there's one guy. Real question to you though, Dan. They let Sony Michel go. Would you be interested? You let Rojo go? Is there anything there for you?
Not really. I mean, Sony Michel is he's a less juiced version of Ronald Jones, and the fact that he's going to grind out yards. He's not going to be a great, I guess he's a better pass protection and pass catching back than Ronald Jones, but he's definitely more of a plotter. He's not going to be huge breakaways. He's I don't know. I got no interest in Sony Michel, especially because the Chiefs kind of have their 3 downs covered right now with the guys that they have. And I think if there was any running back to make the roster that they have right now, it would be Ronald Jones. And I think that with his breakaway speed, that's more appealing to me than Sony Michel, who's not really great at anything, kind of more of a jack of all trades kind of player. The
only reason that I see is because of the veteran rules in the practice squad, you could put him there. The only reason I say that is it would be McKinnon injury insurance, because hopefully Jarek's fine, but you never know. Okay. So that's what I was thinking. Chief LA, if you guys like RGR, you're going to love Adrian. Yes, go check out Cole. We do things very differently. This is we are parallel, but Cole's a good dude and we work together, and we might have something to announce for you guys coming up. So maybe keep your ears peeled for us. And how about them Chiefs? Corey, with Blake Bell gone, who gets the QB sneak duties? Well, that's the question, is they haven't put him on IR. I thought that they would make the announcement if they were going to. So right now it feels to me like they're trying to sneak him on, which means they have to put him on the initial 53, and then they can put him IR and bring somebody back, which is a pain in the butt because then you expose somebody to waivers. It's a little tricky. But if you get the sneak duties, let's be honest, it should be Mike Burton. Most answers in this offense that don't involve throwing and catching the ball should be Mike Burton. So I would try it. Would you?
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense. Maybe I just don't see how Gray could do it. I think maybe they might try, but right now you had guys in Blake Bell who was trusted to do that, and now they're probably not going to do quarterback sneaks at all unless Blake Bell comes back. And I think it's going to be a lot of Mike Burton. It's going to be a lot of little quick hitters to McCole Hardman and fast guys, things like that, and try to manufacture short yardage situations that way.
I mean, honestly, with this offensive line, can you just hand Mike the ball, or honestly, just hand Clyde the ball behind Mike and just tell Clyde not just follow your block. Okay.
Just run straight. Right? Don't manipulate nobody. Just go.
Right.
Go.
Right. You don't have to cut. Just dive. Basic Pee-wee football. Dive right. Done deal. What's up, Mike? I hope you're doing good. Okay. Got this one. I think we're both kind of stuck. Don't worry, Mike. I just fall behind. Let's see. That was 5:05, and I'm already 10 minutes past. Any interest in bringing Laquan Treadwell? None at all. No. I don't think he had anything to begin with. He hasn't shown anything. I got nothing for him. I mean, Justin Watts is a better player than him.
He is, but he did show last year with Trevor Lawrence. I think there was a weird 6-game stretch where he went for 400 yards, and I'm just like, where'd Laquan Treadwell come from? But I think it was just more Trevor Lawrence than anything.
It's alive. Chiefs fan, any right tackle possibility in the cut down that might fit the Chiefs plans? I mean, I won't know until they let somebody go. They've been practicing the other guy in Chicago, Jenkins, at left, right?
He's been there. He's been their starting right guard.
Oh, has he? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So there's a lot of trade speculation about him, but it's still growing. It's weird. I don't know what's going on with Poles and Jenkins, but there's something There's something happening right now, and it's not. I don't really know what it is.
And the only reason that I'd put the kibosh on that is Ryan Poles was in the Chiefs front office when they made their evaluations of him. If Ryan Poles doesn't want him now, it's very likely the Chiefs didn't have him very high on their board either. So I can't see like interest growing now, but you never know. Somebody could get cut. I think more of a veteran side than a younger guy that maybe could surprise us. We'll just have to see. Right now, I haven't seen anybody on the wire at tackle that even makes me blink an eye yet.
No.
Micah, 3 keys to win the Super Bowl besides staying healthy. Well, at least you know what the number 1 is there, Micah. Go ahead, Dan, pick one.
All right, so one of my keys is being fluid on offense. It has to be don't get stuck. And then we saw that last year, and specifically in the AFC Championship game. They got stuck. Mahomes pulling the RPOs and trying to throw into the things that the Bengals were like, they're just going to keep doing this, so we're just going to sit on them. And that's what doomed them. They didn't adjust their game plan properly. You have to be fluid. You have to try new things. I think this year they're going to do less RPO and more play action and actual throws off of it. So just being fluid. That's it. Just be fluid.
I like it. I think you have to be more deliberate on the defensive line. I think what we've seen from Cullen so far is he's changed the attitude, and I think we've seen a couple of flashes of guys maybe being more aggressive and to their benefit. But that's got to be consistent and not be over pursuing things or jumping gaps and getting just turned in the run game. I mean, that's the number one thing. They will bait you, even at defensive tackle. They will bait you. They'll trap your butt. Like, they'll get you. So I think they have to be comfortable there. Do you have a third, or else I got one?
It's going to have to be getting home. This year, more so than I think we've seen the last few years, the Chiefs defense hasn't been unable to collect sacks on the quarterback. You gotta get those quarterbacks down. They had tons of pressures on Joe Burrow, on Josh Allen. Josh Allen's a different beast, but still, you got to start taking these pressures and converting them to sacks. If you don't, you're going to find yourselves in third and down situations, and they're going to keep moving the chains. You're going to get tired, and it's going to be hard. You have to convert those sacks.
Yeah, I'm with you, and it'll help the younger secondary. It's going to be very young this year, you guys. I'm all for it. The schedule seemed hard at first, but right now I think we can win a lot. Love your thoughts. Or thank you. Thanks, Swag Boy. Do you have like a number in your head, Dan? Because I agree. Like, I never was really super down on this schedule. I know it's tough, but I think it's winnable.
No, I think it is too. I think 13-12 is right where I'm at right now.
Yeah, okay. 13-4 is what I said a few weeks ago when camp opened, and I've seen nothing change my mind. Mohamed Sanu released earlier today. Are you interested? I don't think he beats anybody out that's on the roster.
Dude's he hasn't even been playing. Like, ever since he was acquired for a second-round pick. People forget. Bill Belichick said, hey, I'm going to give you guys a second-round pick for this guy. Ever since then, he's been nothing.
Yeah. I mean, Reese Fountain is on the roster, folks. He made a thank you kind of tweet today.
He also retweeted it and said that he was just thanking God for being, for normal stuff. We all kind of assumed he was going to make it anyway, but...
Yeah, that's Joe Blamar going, you're not supposed to be doing this stuff and letting anybody know.
Hey, Reese,
that's what happened.
Reese.
We didn't tell nobody yet. Will, thank you very much. And guys, I think Aaron said it earlier, but Will's got a channel you guys want to check out as well. Could we see Clark Jones, GK, Dunlap on the field at the same time in the new NASCAR?
Absolutely.
I'll pay for it.
Yeah.
I will pay for it. I'll pay $100 to Steve Spagnuolo for every sack that they get. They do that. How's that? Steve's like, I don't need your $100. Shut up and go away.
I got 2 rings, man.
Right.
Rings.
But Will, that's exactly what we're looking for. Like, they have that ability, and quite frankly, yes, they've added defensive tackle, but Danny Shelton doesn't give you pass rush anymore. So it's really about, if you don't have what you're getting out of Turk that's good enough, put GK in there and go to town.
Do we know that Shelton makes the roster? I mean, let's be real. Do we know that he makes the roster?
No,
I don't.
Thin. I think he does, but do we know? No.
It's between him or Shelton, but I think Shelton could beat him out. I don't think that
Stallworth, you mean?
I mean Stallworth, yeah. It's between Shelton and Stallworth. And he only had a game. He's only played in 1 game. It's so hard to know. I know that they brought him in late, and if he's not conditioned, it's not going to make it.
Could be. I don't know. Stallworth has not impressed me at all. That's the only reason I'm leaning towards Shelton right now, just because once you get him in shape, you feel like you got something you can do with him.
Yeah.
I don't know. He might be I mean, throw the 3 specialists out, so there's 50 guys on their roster. He might be 48 or 49.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
Chief LA, do you guys think Bushman will make the practice squad? Absolutely. I don't think he's got to get a lot of interest.
It's unfortunate though. He's got that broken clavicle, you know.
Yeah, it sucks. But they could also release him with an injury settlement. Actually, now they don't even have to do that. And then they can bring him back at some point as well. I could see that happening too. The rigmarole of who goes onto the practice squad and who doesn't. I'm not too concerned about it, but I'm just really disappointed because I was a big Bushman guy beforehand, and he to have that all happen in one game sucks. Absolutely.
After that, I thought they were gonna be like, "Hey, Bell, go ahead, sit the first couple of weeks on the IR. We'll just go ahead and do it now." And then he got hurt, and then they were like,
"That's what I was thinking too." And hey, Matt Bushman, he showed. Let me just tell you guys, that was blown coverage, and that was his top gear.
It was so bad. They were just like, they just looked at the short. They were just like, Bushman's like, "Hey, I'm gonna walk by you guys."
I mean, that's all Matt has. That was his top gear, but that's enough if you get that kind of broken thing, and he can work underneath. I like him. He unfortunately, the reason you didn't hear about him until now, folks, is because he blew out his knee his senior year.
Yeah.
And he's had some injury things this whole time. So we're going to have to see how he goes. Let's see. Fortson, 500 yards and 6 TDs this season. Burner butt kicker. I'm saying that's low. I'm taking the over on both.
Okay, I'm going to go under on the yards and over on the touchdowns.
Okay, I'm going over on both. I don't care. I'm doing it. Bucks game prediction now with all their injuries.
I can't. Again, this is kind of going back to the very first question of this of the show. I got to see what they look like in the first couple of weeks before the Chiefs play them, before I can really say, because the injuries, their offensive line, if it keeps being as bad as it has been, their offense is going to be atrocious. Even with Tom Brady, I think he's going to get sacked 4 or 5 times, maybe even more a game. It's I don't know if you guys seen Tom Brady. That dude looks like he's dead. He lost another 20 pounds that he didn't have to lose. His face is sunken in. He probably can't move even more than he could before. It's a scary thought.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs win by 10.
I would say right now, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Dan, do you agree? Don't you agree? Michelle is way better than Henne. Cut Josh Gordon. Does he get cut?
Okay, so talent-wise, yeah, he's a better quarterback than Chad Henne. The problem is he's a young quarterback, and we've already seen he doesn't necessarily understand.
This is the only thing better on Buechele. That's it.
That's absolutely not true. Everything that Chad Henne is the reason he's on is right here. Chad Henne is a subpar mechanical arm talent,
footwork,
everything.
Absolutely.
I think Buechele has a better arm. He's definitely more mobile, but it's right here. Until they feel confident that Buechele can come in and operate that offense at least some form, like the Matt Moore, Chad Henne offense at that clip, that's when you're going to see Buechele be the guy. And yes, Josh Gordon gets cut.
Yeah, I agree on Gordon. And I think and the Buechele thing, that's just a safety factor for Andy. Andy trusts Henne. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about. He knows he can execute his offense mentally. And, everything below the neck is you just got to make up for it. Avery, hope you're doing well. Ping me back. I sent you an email the other day. Who had relatively quiet preseason outside the starters? Do you expect to have a solid contributing season? That's a great question. I think Sky Moore is going to get it. I think people are concerned that he didn't get enough action in the preseason. I ain't worried.
I mean, it's for me, that's just an Andy Reid special. I think that he's just going to be what normal rookies are, relatively uninvolved, but he's going to find ways to make impact, which is all you're looking for a rookie. Relatively quiet preseason. Well, there's one guy who you haven't heard a word from, Juan Thornhill, who's going to have a big season. I think he's going to be exceptionally good this year. Back to close to his rookie season, if not better.
I certainly hope so. I'm here for that. I actually think that I have confidence in Wiley, but I actually think that Lucas Niang will get back, and we obviously haven't heard a thing about him. As long as he plays into shape, I feel like he can do something. I liked what I saw from him when he was on the field last season.
Correct.
So, yeah. Spards, hope you're doing well. Thanks for the support. Appreciate you very much. Do you think if Kennard makes the 53, they turn him into a guard or they continue the OT position? Thanks for the best content. Thank you, Spards. Appreciate you. We both like him better at guard. Honestly, if they can't find a better alternative, they might have to leave him at tackle for now because cupboard is bare, folks.
Yeah, it's not good. Like it's pretty bad. And I mean, his footwork is a tiny bit better on Thursday, a tiny bit. Like we're talking about from atrocious to just terrible. And like it's not great. And unfortunately, when he is a 5th round pick, so you're not exactly
right
hoping that he's going to turn into a starter. They kind of just were like, well, maybe we can try you at tackle because you played it in college. But they're going to realize that it's not going to work out. It's just not going to. It's unfortunate.
It won't. OG Gary Holland, how are you? Ryan, do you feel like 6 receivers and special teams or Fountain will make it? I think Fountain's on it, tweet aside. And I think he will play the special teams. I do think Watson's ahead of him now in terms of like getting on the field on offense. I do think that they keep 6. They can't afford to go to 5, in my opinion. There's just not enough there.
No.
Folks, say hi to Stevie. He's in the chat now, too. Welcome, Stevie. Check out Back Talk Bros as well as Big Chief Sean. Go subscribe to both of their channels as well. Everyone check out William's new channel. Thank you. All Chiefed Out. I didn't know the name. Thanks, Aaron. And it's fun because like all of our fans like are starting to make channels too. So, hey, welcome to the grind, everyone. I hope you enjoy it. Morbian, I was big on Bushman. Dan, I didn't get your overall thought on him very much.
He's a replacement level player. I thought he would, again, if Blake Bell would have been healthy, he wouldn't have made the roster regardless. So for me, when I saw that he, at least had some natural hand ability, I think he's a decent blocker. I was like, okay, if Bell's not available, fine. You make the roster. I think 80 wants to keep 4 tight ends anyway. But
okay.
It is what it is.
That's cool. Cards cut Deion Yelder. He played here for a while. Would you replace Bell? I don't think so. I don't think Deion can block.
No, that's why he's not in Kansas City anymore.
He's a pass catcher type. I don't think you could plug him in and ask him to do what Blake did.
No.
And maybe Blake's going to be okay, and they're just going to ride out and they're going to deal with him being on the roster on IR for, or not even IR. Maybe they'll just carry him for 6 weeks.
That's kind of what I'm leaning towards because honestly, it would make more sense to put him on IR. And then find somebody to have you can find pure blocking tight ends on waivers, like or on free agents. There are those out there. So maybe they think that his injury is not going to keep him out as long as they thought initially.
Gotcha. I'm with you. Moisha, thank you very much. Appreciate the super chat and the support. Would you compare all the presumed receivers versus last year's? So obviously, JuJu Smith-Schuster versus Tyreek Hill is pretty disparate difference, right? I would put JuJu as 1. You tell me if I'm wrong.
No, I think right now he's their number 1 receiver.
Okay. So Tyreek way up here, JuJu here, right? But the 2 last year was DeMarcus Robinson. Was it McCole? Who would you call the 2?
Byron. I mean, it would have been between. It had to have been DeMarcus.
That's kind of what I was thinking. JuJu's still better than him right now.
Yeah.
So is MVS.
They're kind of the same player to me. Like they're almost the exact same player.
Okay, MVS carries the ball better. How's that?
There you go.
Okay. Fair. Then I would say McCole is a little bit lower. And then Pringle. And then McCole was, same player on both. So overall, the top is off. But I think when you look at the top 4, especially, I love Byron. But if Byron's the 4, I'll take Sky Moore over him.
Yeah, that's fair. Byron's like a 5'6" guy, unfortunately, and so was DeMarcus Robinson, and they've been using them like 2 and 3s.
Right.
And again, I vouch for Byron Pringle. I've always loved that player. And when you have disparity in terms of talent, he kind of opens your eyes. Like he's got more juice and like talent than the guys above him, but that doesn't mean that the guys above him deserve to be where they are. So that's kind of where it's been with DeMarcus Robinson. If you guys missed my rant on that, go ahead and see the members chant on it because I talk all about the nonsense that happened with DeMarcus Robinson and how he got cut from the Raiders. So that was a lot of fun.
You guys, it's worth it. Just sign up for 1 month at the rookie level or above, and then you can turn off if you want. It's worth it. The rants are always fun for me because I don't have to go do them because I think them, but I don't have to say them. But so overall, it comes down to the compression much like I talk about in the draft, the Chiefs wide receivers are more like this, whereas they used to be like this. And the top end isn't there, but neither's the bottom end. So 4 is better than 4 was last year, and that's what you need.
Yeah.
Marshall, welcome back. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for the support, buddy. Is there any real concern with the lack of run efficiency that we saw in the preseason? Was it a result of lines, backs, or just timing altogether? I'm not concerned.
Yeah, it's the run game is something you got to establish. I know people talk about establishing the run all the time. Like when it comes down to it, it's about being out there for a game. It's about having an offensive line not coming in and out like they do in the preseason. It's about using your running backs properly and establishing those concepts. So I'm not too worried about it either.
And honestly, when they got a bad rep, I thought the offensive line stood up and did a little bit better the next week. So
Thursday night, they were way better. Way better.
Yeah. So they always say that like you need the reps in practice to do it, right? And it's a passing camp for the most part. Andy will tell you that. So I think when it comes down to it and they need to run, I think they'll be able to. Thanks, Marshall. Mike, Pete Briscoe picked KC to go 13-4 today. What's your final record predictions? That's exactly where I stand.
Yeah, I would say.
And I hate agreeing with Pete Briscoe.
Yeah, right. I was like, oh, I thought this was going a different direction.
Dang it. That hurts my feelings. Napoleon, everyone excited about Moore and Pacheco doing returns, but Coleman has been more productive than either. Can he make the 53? Does he have trade value? No, he does not have trade value. Could he make the 53? I can't see it.
I don't see him making it, especially over Fountain. And they have Pacheco, who's going to be your return man. There's no way for him unless they think that Coleman is significantly better as a returner than Pacheco is and more valuable than what Fountain or Watson brings.
And let me ask this. Was Coleman better because of what he does with the ball in his hands or because of what the blockers were doing against lower level blockers, his opponents? That's my guess. But I see where you're coming from, Napoleon. It's close. He might be like, I think he's easily a practice squatter. He might be the guy that's like 55, 56 and just couldn't quite break on to the top 6. But I'm glad that they have him. Yeah. Mr. Big Phil, hope you're doing well. Do you think about Kennard making headway this year? It's been just a tiny bit. He's got a long way to go. I think he has to adjust his attitude a little bit too. Like I said, I'm glad that he's pissed off about being overlooked. He didn't seem to turn that into more study or more practice or more technique, and that's what he's got to do to make it.
Yep. It's just he's got to probably lose a little bit of weight, even more than he already did if he wants to be like an Orlando Brown type of player, because he's not going to have the best footwork ever. He's just not going to. So you're going to have to find ways to make up for that.
Yeah. It's going to be a challenge, but he has the potential to do it. Teague, thank you for the support again. Appreciate you. On a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel about the pass rush right now?
I'm going to go 6.
Okay.
I'm not like overjoyed by it, but I think it's better than it was last year, at least right now.
On paper, I have it as a 7. But with Carlos not playing much this preseason, and Frank being Frank and showing what he's shown in the past, I could easily be at a 5. So ask me after the Chargers, and then we'll know.
Yeah, at least Dunlap was at practice today. That's always a good sign.
Right. That is a good point, folks. And if you missed that, Carlos did practice today. Chief LA, when are you guys going to team up with Cole? Yes, we have some plans. We're working on a couple things. We'll definitely let you guys know.
Just let it happen. Just let it happen.
It's going to be a meeting of the minds. Like Cole's just so quick and he's so funny. Like I can't be that humorous. So like we'll hold the serious down. It'll be a nice give and go. I don't know. we're gonna have to find the right format. But don't worry, it's coming. Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL. Okay, I said it. I like it, Red. I'm with you.
Yeah, that's a real controversial statement these days.
I know, right? Unfortunately, you think that Jason Kelce will get into the Hall of Fame? He's got the career for it, I think. He's got a Super Bowl ring. He's been All-Pro, 4 times?
Yes. Not only does he deserve it, I think he has the accolades to back up everything.
He is a center, though. So it might
It's
take
tough.
a decade.
It might, but he's very deserving.
He is, absolutely. I'm with you. Mr. Big Phil, how many games will it take before CEH gets hurt? I'm saying 5. Or wait, 6. Is Bill 6? I think it'll happen against the Bills.
Week 5 or 6, yeah.
I hope he had a great night that first night in the rain against the Bills. I hope he can relive that. But I am concerned about the injury bug.
I'm not projecting injuries into anything.
Okay. Paddock, they cut Bo Keys. Where do you think you were pretty high on? Do you want to bring him back? I'd put him on the practice squad today, sure.
Yeah, practice squad first, 100%.
Yeah.
Fine with that.
He ain't beating out Watson, though. So he can't be in the top 5 for me. Just my thought. Chris, glad to see you, folks. If you missed Chris Weeks, he's been on with Aaron in the members channel as well on the Modfather meetups. You want to check that out. Sternberger always seemed like more of a blocking tight end. Could he be Phil Blake Bell's role? I don't think he's that good at it, though. That's my problem.
That was the big thing, is that like he came out kind of tweenerish,
right?
Like, and then Green Bay was like, all right, we're going to take you high, and then we're going to turn you into a pass catching tight end. And then he could do that either. So it's unfortunate, but I don't think Sternberger is going to be on anybody's active roster in the coming future.
Yeah. I mean, somebody will probably bring him in. I just don't know if he's going to make a dent. I would tell you guys this. If you like what Sternberger could have been, go get Jake Ferguson in your fantasy leagues. I'm just telling you.
Do it now. I loved, like, I think I was pretty high on him coming out of Wisconsin. Like, I didn't, obviously it's Wisconsin. You have to project a ton with their offense because it's so rudimentary and so run. You block, you do this, let's eat, mount, to destroy. Like, that's what it is. It's Wisconsin destroying football. And so he was forced to be a blocking tight end, but that dude's athletic. If they're going to use him in Dallas.
Yeah. I think so. Hey, we'll see what happens. Brendan, did you see that George mentioned he liked the name Curious George? He actually, it's Furious George is the nickname they've given him, and he said he's cool with it. Okay, that's cool. I think I got to stick with GK. I'm just having trouble with it.
I love it. I love Furious George, man. That's great stuff. That's great.
Micah, great pod. Thank you, sir. Do you think leaving Antonio Brown out of all the highlights of the 9-minute #1 Tom Brady video on purpose by the NFL or the NFL Network? Sure.
Yes.
I got nothing. I have no idea. Honestly, I don't know if those editors even know who the guys are that are in the film that they're cutting. But could be. I have no idea.
I would think it's on purpose.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly could be. With training camp and the preseason over, what's your biggest surprise for the Chiefs? Biggest surprise? That none of the tackles worked out behind Andrew Wiley.
I think Christian was better than I expected him to be, and I think he's going to be on the roster, which, I mean, again, we're talking about Andrew Wiley, who's not a great tackle, and then the guys behind Andrew Wiley. So it's still a problem. The biggest surprise, like, I don't even, for me, is Jalen Watson. Okay, there it is. It's Jalen Watson. I didn't, 7th round pick, I didn't have a ton of expectation for him, and I think I believe he thoroughly outplayed Joshua Williams in every game. Looking more comfortable, looking the part, and being more comfortable in man and zone than Williams did. Williams looked much more comfortable in man than he did in zone at times. But I think Watson looked more all around better, and he didn't seem, spooked by the moment, which is great to see.
See, I thought that Williams played better in the first preseason game, and then it flipped, and then it got more dramatic, in my opinion. But that's okay. It's still a great surprise because, I mean, it was. I don't even know if anybody besides me that I know of had Jalen on their board.
Yeah. Nope.
So, I mean, I was happy to see it. And I'm really tickled that a kid that I watched at Wazoo could come to Kansas City and I get to cover him still. So that's kind of nice.
That's pretty cool.
Travis could do the sneaks because he played QB already. I mean,
I'm not going to let him do it.
If he were 24, sure, but he's a 31-year-old old man that they got to try to get all the way to his Hall of Fame numbers.
Yeah.
Don't let him do it. Don't let him do it. How should we expect the defense to be this year? They played great in the preseason games, although against bad teams with second teamers. I mean, like, you can't take a lot away, in my opinion, from the Green Bay game without Aaron out there. So, like, throw that one out. But I do feel that they are still in the mix to be a mid-tier defense if they live up to their capabilities.
Yeah, that's where they kind of have to be. Again, it's projection based. Their defense seemed to be definitely more ferocious. They seem to have more speed, but less concepts on offense, less concepts on defense. So everything's more simplistic in the preseason. It allows them to function at a higher level a little bit faster. So they'll see more complicated things on defense as the season goes on. And that might be when we start to see some of the hesitation factor.
Yeah, I'm with you. Kevin, I hope that there is a concerted effort to keep offensive penalties down. If offense is taking a long drive approach, nothing stops a drive like a penalty. You're absolutely right, Kevin. And it drives Andy nuts. So I think they're going to be better off this season than last because, I mean, let's face it, Creed and Trey were great, but they were rookies.
Yeah.
You're going to make mistakes. You're going to get hell. You're going to get called for penalties. I think that's going to come down just by the fact that these guys are seasoned now. So,
yeah, that's true.
All pro Creed Humphrey is going to be fine. Oscar, nice to see you. But Dan, I have a second pick in my fantasy draft. 12-team PPR, Snake, leaning towards CMC, run the other direction.
Nope.
And assuming Taylor goes number 1, would you do it if you were me?
Yes, that's exactly what I would do. I also take CMC number 1 overall. That's just what I do.
For both games he's going to play this year?
I don't care about the risk. You're trying to win fantasy leagues. I don't care about that.
Okay.
He's got the ceiling. I'm all in on CMC. And obviously, if it goes the other way, you take Jonathan Taylor.
CMC is undraftable until the 4th round for me because I hate risk. Because plays like that have cost me leagues.
Yeah, it happens.
Yep, it does.
Happens.
Ryan, you mentioned on Lockdown that you would consider trading for Jenkins. What would be the corresponding move that you would make to make room on the 53? For me, it would probably be the 5th linebacker. I just don't think for the bulk of the time that they're going to be in the base, if you have Elijah Lee and you have Liz Chanel, you can get by with only 4 backers until you figure something else out. That said, Austin Ryder's not much for me. I'd rather have Allegretti snap the ball anyway.
That's exactly what I'd do. I'd cut Austin Ryder in a second, and I wouldn't even think twice about it.
No blinking. George Late. So I don't know if this has been asked, but do you think Furious George could tie in and break the DT's rookie sack record? I mean, kids had a pretty good preseason. Let's not start comparing him to DT already. What was that?
This is honestly, and I don't mean to throw shade because I love BJ, but he has his own opinion. And this is something that BJ has talked about that he thinks he's going to break the rookie sack record. And it's no shade at BJ. You're allowed to have your opinions. I don't mean to sound harsh about this, but he's going to have to get way better to break that sack record. Like that's just the fact.
What is it?
It's
like 13 sacks, isn't it?
Yeah, it's something like that. It's like that would be the biggest improvement from college to the NFL at the defensive end position I think we've seen in a very, very, very long time, regardless of draft capital. So I think he's still going to be good, and maybe next year he can get to that point. But I think right now you have to take in a little grain of salt is that he's still learning the game. I know he looked good in the preseason, but the tackles that he played against,
yeah,
they're not good. They're not
well,
good.
I'll put it this way. I said a couple weeks ago, and I still feel this, like I'll be happy if he gets 8 sacks. That's a good season for him as a rookie. And I think that will catapult him to more after that. Is there a possibility? There's always a possibility, especially if Frank can come off the edge with more explosion. They'll have to start shifting that way.
That's the biggest thing. If Chris Jones returns to 2020 and 2019 Chris Jones, and Frank can just threaten the edge just a little bit, that will help George get to those 5, 6, 7, 8 sack numbers, which is what you would. If he gets to 8 sacks, I am praising. I will give him. Here we go. If George Karlaftis gets 8 sacks this year, I will make a video commemorating. I'll put little clips of all the stuff that I said at the draft. I'll put a whole montage together telling you guys how wrong I was and then apologizing for everything. Regardless, 8 sacks, and that's happening.
I'll one-up you because I like the number 9. If he gets 9 sacks or more, I will buy one of Jaden's Karlaftis jerseys and I will wear it on this show.
Yeah, I'll join you. We'll have a dual jersey reveal.
Folks, we're going to be out at the top of the hour, so we're going to keep on cruising here. Do you see Coleman will make the 6th receiver in special teams and Fountain makes the 6th? It is Fountain. I don't think Coleman has much of a shot here because while he can do the returns, they need gunners and they need guys to go down and make tackles, and that's going to be Darius Fountain.
Yep.
Lee, who do you project to be the last 5 guys to make the roster, which are on the bubble? I have Boodle making it over Lamont.
Okay.
Darius would be one of them. Ryder and Caliendo I have making it as the
interesting.
I think 8th and 9th lineman.
Wasn't Caliendo already cut?
Oh, was he? Did I miss something? Could be.
He was.
Okay, check into that because I had to make it right behind Ryder, and I'm happy if we can come up with an alternative to that. So those are the 5 guys that I'd be looking at. Casey Masterpiece, if the Chiefs were to run a defense that would maximize their talent at each level, what defense would you run? Would it be a 4-2-5 at each level? Probably not. I would probably run a bear and leave Danny Shelton in the middle or Nadi in the middle and have both Chris Jones and Turk Wharton rushing the passer with guys outside of them. So I'd probably run 6-man front, like a bear coverage front with 4 in the back and 2 backers.
Okay, I haven't seen anything about him being cut. For some reason, I just thought I remember his name in the list, but no. So he's not been cut.
Okay, fair enough. I was like, I could have missed it. So, but Casey Masterpiece, that's only because I think you can benefit the defensive line by having more of those guys that are not elite but are good on the field together. And I think if you're crushing 6 dudes into 5 gaps, you're helping the backside stay healthy too. So, like, I think that's what I would probably try. I would also be quick to switch out of it too. So, hey. Do you have a plan, Dan? I don't mean to cut you off.
No, I would definitely go 4-2-5. I think that's the ideal. In today's NFL, the ideal is to be able to stop the run in nickel, and that's when you can have that's right. I tweeted out, if the Chiefs can stop the run in nickel this year, they're going to almost exclusively play that in dime. Like they're almost not going to play base because they don't want to. They want to be out there with the most DBs as possible. So I think in today's NFL, it makes the most sense.
See, I have different goals. My goal is to knock the opposing quarterback out of every game. So that's what I'm here for. Bill, thank you very much for the support, buddy. Top 100 doesn't matter, but how excited were you that 15 got number 8? He's got to be the MJ Kobe competitive streak. How much scorched earth do you think that we see?
It was already going to happen. This just this just put a little cherry on top, like the. And remember, this gets voted on in November, and it's the players. Like Mahomes these are his peers.
Yeah. But don't expect like 40-point blowouts either, because Andy's not going to dial it up after you get up a lot. So like, I think it's going to be intense. I think do not miss the first quarter of these games this season, you guys, because I think it's going to be like all cylinders firing. Gary, good to see you, and so is Jaden. Would really not like it if we kept Caliendo and Ryder over Gurman. I didn't see much from Gurman that made me say that he should beat them out. Did I miss something?
No.
Okay.
This back.
Cold Ape, I'm with you. If he's definitely got more upside than those guys, I will tell you that, because he's younger, and I do think that he's got some talent. Doug, thank you. We appreciate you, and thanks for being part of the fam. Brandon, I just think that the season goes along, our defense is going to keep going into the top 10. Here we are, so much more athletic on defense now. I look across the board and I see so much athleticism. It's ridiculous. It's very much faster defense, and that fast cures a lot of damn things. Makes me happy, that's for certain.
Yeah, I'm just going to be happy to see guys making mistakes in the right direction. You know what I mean? Like, not just standing still or looking around, like going. I don't really care if you make a mistake as long as you're going.
Yeah. What are the odds of Chiefs going to get Mike Gesicki? 0, in my opinion.
Absolutely 0.
Okay.
They have their Jody Fortson is their Mike Gesicki, but he blocks. He can block.
Agreed. And I think he runs cleaner routes on the outside too. So it's because he was a wide receiver. It makes sense, right? Do we keep just 3 running backs? That's what's on my list. Do you think so, Dan, or do you think they keep 4?
No, 3 and a fullback.
Okay. Once the teams do their cuts, Casey can claim the person they want right away, or is there an order that which must be followed? There is a waiver order. The Chiefs will be 28th?
Think so, yeah.
Right? So yeah, it's going to be very hard to pick up anybody, like any of the top 3. You're not going to get like a corner that you think is great or an edge that you think is great at 28. It's going to be tough. Any chance that Fish would come back and play right tackle? I would love it if he did. It feels like he's kind of pissed off about the way he got let go, and I haven't heard anything about him being open to it.
Yeah, no, he's going to be very selective. We've kind of heard little rumblings. He's already had some teams interested, but he's being very selective about his situation, which
he should be. He needs to get with a contender. He needs a chance at a ring, or he could hurt himself significantly for the rest of his life. So
yep.
I'm with him. Yeah, I think we're all tickled there, Casey, that he's going to be fired up. I think we're down for that. Des the Gem, what's the expectation for McDuffie this year? Any answer is a solid lockdown ones. I think he'll actually get a couple. I think what's going to be more important to me, I think he's going to get probably 6 or 8 PBUs, and that's going to make a difference in a ball game or two.
Yeah, I actually think he's going to lead the Chiefs in interceptions this year, and he's going to get targeted because he's a rookie. So those are gonna happen. So I'm pretty excited to see how he adjusts. We've already seen him be in pretty good position already in the preseason, so I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm with you. Nobody can be Sauce Gardner, who, by the way, has played like only 35 snaps this preseason, folks, and got 0 targets. So I'll take Trent right now because Trent's going to have opportunities, and I like that. Watch a snip of Coward saying that the offense will be different without Tyreek, obviously, meaning won't score lightning fast and gain yards at 60 pop. What if they go down by 10 points again? I'm not worried about 10 points down, Gina, and thank you for the question. I don't know that we've had one from you before, so welcome. Does the lightning ability bother you?
No, not even a little bit, because the lightning is still there. The lightning, as good as Tyreek Hill is, the speed factor, it doesn't have anything to do with Andy Reid's ability to scheme open players. Like, the biggest thing that they did, especially when they saw single high safeties, is they would just send Tyreek Hill and McCole Hardman on the opposite sides of that safeties. It's like, find it, figure it out. You can't do it. You still have MVS, you still have McCole Hardman to do the same thing. So I think that they're going to see a little bit less of those 2 highs eventually this year, but the lightning does not bother me.
Okay, cool. I'm down. Thank you, Gina. Appreciate you. And sorry, I threw a question up there that wasn't for us. Clint, does Veach's previous success in drafts create unrealistic expectations for the mid to late round draft picks? It does in the fan base. And that's one of the things that we try to keep a lid on, right?
Yeah.
Is like when we see things that the guys were either drafted a little bit higher than we expected or we evaluated, we try to make sure that we point that out, because in the end, we're not on Veach's staff. We do our thing independent of everything in that room, but we understand how they work too. So we try to strike a balance. The fan base is very different.
Yes.
And I think a lot of folks, when they see one thing they like, especially on highlight reels, they think that they're going to get that every week. And I think that leads to some disappointment. And then when the players come around in season 2 or season 3, like, then they're surprised again. It's like, you just had to let them get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kurt, thank you, Clint. Appreciate you. And Kurt, besides Mahomes on offense and Jones on defense, who will play well for the offense and defense to thrive this season, or who needs to?
Yeah. So this is it, Clyde. The offense wants to thrive this year. You got to start taking those holes, okay? And you got to stop shimmying in the hole. You got to stop trying to make every linebacker think you're going one way, because the NFL, the defensive ends are coming faster. Okay, you have less time to do that with. The offense wants to hum. Clyde has to be Clyde like he was in college. That's what he has to do. He has to be better than that in this NFL. That's what you have to.
Justin Reed has to be all that he was proclaimed to be, and Willie Gay's got to hit his potential. If Willie's serious about having the most interceptions for a linebacker in this league, he does that, and that saves them 5, 6, 7 drives, and that changes the scope of the season. Des, should Casey target Gesicki or Schultz in the offseason since Travis is getting older? I don't think so. I think they should reinvest in another young tight end, younger than Noah, and keep the pipeline going, because I think Jody can do it if he can get rid of the injury bug. I'm not sold on that yet, but if he does, Jody can be a successful tool that could eventually become the one when Travis decides to hang it up. But thank you for the support, Des. Appreciate you again. Are there any specific players that you think will make it that you don't want to see make it?
I mean, I have one, and that's only because of his off-field stuff. I don't want Chris Lamons on the team. Like, that's it. But we've already seen that, like, he was with, Alvin Kamara with that whole situation, and looks like they're going to punt it till next year. So they're going to be able to play, but I don't know. I guess that's the only guy that I would say I don't really want on the team.
Yeah. My only thing is I don't want them to keep somebody for a bad reason, like a contract. Nothing against Jermaine Carter. I don't think he's played well, and I don't want to keep him just because you paid him up front a little bit. All right, folks, we're going to hit the home stretch here, and I'm going to find stuff that we haven't covered maybe, and all you super chatters are going to get your answers for sure. Let's see. We covered that one. Steve's got one. What schemes work best for the offense and the defense with the talent on this team? I do like the dime concept for the defense, and I do think that like I would spread this team out. I would also go triple tight end and then spread the team out. So
Yeah, I think that in the preseason, we've actually seen them lean into a little bit of the 2019 LSU run game with some pin pulls, some inside gap encounters and things like that. That plays right into Clyde's wheelhouse. That plays right into Pachenko's wheelhouse because it allows him to get inside and run between the tackles without having to read a whole lot because the holes are right there. So I think that those concepts, those powers, those leads, and those interior runs are really going to pay off this year.
I'm with you. Hippo, I think JuJu will be fine.
Yep.
He's got another 10 days or so I think we're in good shape there. Thank you, Longmorn. Appreciate you. Why not have the backup LT be a blocking tight end? The 6 lineman concept is great. It would be Allegretti, and you saw him come in as a tight end and catch a touchdown last year. Do that all the time.
All the time, man.
And line Mike up behind him.
I love Allegretti, man. He is a perfect sixth man. Like he's the perfect sixth man because he just gets in there, he has fun, and he just does what he has to do. I love Nick Allegretti.
Avery agreed with us on Jake Ferguson, Big Dave, Jalen Weidemeyer. No, I would not go get him. I don't think he trains hard. I don't think he loves the game. I'm not interested in him.
No, not even a little bit.
Dan says Powell won't make 53. Whose jersey you're going to get now?
I don't know. It's a tough one. I've been trying to get Clyde's. Like that's what I want to get. I'll always love Clyde. So
what do you think the record is through the first 6 weeks? Folks, we're going to wrap it up here in a minute.
I'm going to say 4-2.
Okay. Bills and Tampa? Chargers?
No,
Bills?
I think Chargers and Tampa, I think they're going to beat the Bills, but
okay. All right. I'm saying 5-1.
Yeah.
Brian, thank you. Good day. Are players cut then signed to the practice squad? How does that work? What are the average salaries of the players on the practice squad? Practice squatters get what is it? I think it's $8,000 a month is the way that works out, something like that. You get cut and you go on waiver wires if you're less than 4 years in the league. And then teams can choose you and pull you on at your previous salary at that point. If you're over 4 years, you just become a free agent immediately. No waivers for you. And you can go wherever you want at that point. If Rocha makes 53, could we look to trade him in the deadline for Pacheco and Clyde outperform him? Yes, absolutely. You can trade anybody. And I would not be surprised if they did keep him, if they did eventually move him as well.
Yeah. Thank
you, Mike. Dana or George K starting week 1 at DE? That's a good question.
I guess it'll be Dana. I honestly think it's going to be.
It might be. They might let George and Carlos come in and rotate a little bit. They're very comfortable with Mike.
Yep.
Especially on first down. I'm good with that. Eric, I can't be the only one who always assumed Ryan has a glorious Billy Ray Cyrus style mullet under the cap. No, bro. Nah, it's all gone. it's all gone. Been gone a while. But thanks, Eric. I appreciate the support and the optimism. Have you ever considered running a fantasy football league live Q&A? I have not, because I don't do enough fantasy. I play with old school dudes that we play like individual defensive players, draft dynasty stuff. I don't play any of this modern stuff. That's Dan's area. But maybe we should. Maybe we should look into that. Maybe we'll start another channel for fantasy, you guys. Why does Wiley have any history on injuries? He had a knee sprain once, right?
Yeah, he missed it was the year after he came that he was good.
Okay.
I think it was 2019 where he had some injuries.
Yeah, I think
it's not like a
whole year.
Yeah, it's not like a huge history. Like
that's good.
He's pretty solid, surprisingly.
Howard, thank you for the support. Appreciate you very much. I don't know that we've had a question for you, so welcome.
Yeah, welcome, Howard.
I had a dream before we drafted GK that he got his 10th sack in the second half of the game in Denver wearing a Chiefs uniform. It's happening.
All right.
I will buy Jaden's jersey.
There's some destiny. There's some destiny running.
I am down. I hope you were right, Howard. And thanks for the support, buddy. Appreciate it. Cole Abe, how confident are you that Mike Dana can add pass rush moves to his arsenal?
I think we've seen it. Honestly, I think he's developed a bit this offseason with Cullen. I think he's shown a little bit more in his pass rush game. And they moved him on the inside. He got some pass rush juice there during the preseason. I'm kind of excited about Mike Dana this year.
I would hope that he could. I attribute it more to physical. He looks quicker and more explosive.
Yeah.
Not like moves. You know what I mean?
I think he already had the moves. It was just, I can't use this.
Right. Avery, do you feel that the defense has improved enough to the point that Patrick and the offense won't feel pressured to get TDs on every drive? In turn, I think that leads to more points due to less turnovers. I think you're on to something, but I think Patrick's always going to go for the throat no matter what.
He should. In today's day and age, that's kind of how it needs to be, I think. So I'm hoping that it takes some pressure off, but that lets them play better.
I will say this, Avery, I do think that we won't see like the silly ones where he's in the grasp and was throwing the one. Yeah. I don't think we'll see those. So I do agree with you. Like the confidence to have the backup of the defense. I like that. And we're going to end here, you guys, with Flapjack. Thank you for the support, Flap. Appreciate it.
Flap.
Where do you think the defense will rank at the end of the year?
I'll say top 16. I still don't necessarily think they're going to be just a hugely improved, like top half, top 10 defense, but I think they come into that top 16 near the end of the year.
I'm going to call it flat out, number 17.
Okay.
I like prime numbers. That's it for us tonight, folks. Thank you for all of your questions. As Aaron said, great questions. And that's how this conversation works. We'll be back with you all week long. We have extra stuff. We have the film work. We have Gary back tomorrow. We have Chief of the North on Thursday. We have Big Chief Sean coming on Friday. We have all this stuff. Plenty to go on. Make sure that you like and sub and hit the bell. Get sub to the channel. If you're not one of our subscribers, you're going to miss out on stuff. We're trying to get to 30, 35, 40,000 this year. We got a long push to get there. We're about to break 24K.
Let's
get after it. Thank you guys for your time. We'll talk to you tomorrow.